You ever play a game that just sticks with you, not because it was the biggest or the loudest, but because something about it just felt right? That's kind of what this video is all about. I've been thinking back on all the single-player FPS campaigns I've played over the years, and I wanted to pull together a list of the ones that really stood out, the ones you just don't forget. So yeah, this is 20 best single-player FPS campaigns of all time, but it's more like a quiet little trip through some of the best moments gaming has offered when you're playing solo. No pressure, no leaderboard, just you and the story. If that sounds like your kind of thing, you're in the right place. Let's just ease into it and see which ones made the list. There's something quietly unforgettable about the opening of Half-Life 2, that slow train ride into City 17, the way the world feels just a little too quiet, like it's holding its breath. I really want to show you this one because it doesn't just throw you into action, it kind of settles you into it, like the game wants you to notice every little detail before things get loud. The streets feel strange and watched. The characters don't over-explain, and yet you understand exactly how messed up everything is just by walking through it. It's not just the physics or the cool gravity gun, it's how every corner of the game feels hand-built, like someone really cared about how each moment plays out. Whether you're solving a simple puzzle or sprinting through a crumbling hallway, everything flows in this calm, steady rhythm that just pulls you along without saying much. There's no map to follow, no checklist shouting at you, just you, the world, and a quiet push forward. If you've never played it, it's one of those rare games that feels like a story you lived through, not just something you watched. There's this other gem I've been playing that really surprised me with how much heart it has, Titanfall 2. At first glance, you might expect just another fast-paced shooter, but once you step into its world, it becomes something so much more personal. What really got me was the connection between the pilot and the Titan. There's this quiet bond that builds as you move through the story, not in a loud or dramatic way, but in these small moments that slowly earn your attention. The environments shift in really unexpected ways too. One moment you're running along walls under a bright sky, and the next you're somewhere completely different, like the world itself keeps finding new ways to surprise you. The movement feels smooth, almost peaceful at times, even when things get intense. It's not just about shooting your way through, it's about the rhythm, the flow, and those little touches that make each level feel alive. I didn't expect to care about the story as much as I did, but by the end, it stuck with me more than most games do. If you haven't tried it yet, it's worth diving into, not just for the action, but for the quiet moments in between where the game really shines. I really want to show you this next one, because even after all these years, it still has this certain weight to it. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. There's something about the way it drops you into these tight, focused missions that makes every moment feel grounded and sharp, almost like you're walking through someone else's memories. The pacing is calm when it needs to be, but when it picks up, it never feels chaotic, just purposeful. You're not just running and shooting, you're moving through these layered environments that feel surprisingly real, with tiny details that stick in your mind long after you've finished playing. The sounds, the atmosphere, even the silence between the action, it all works together in this very deliberate way. What always stood out to me was how it never tried too hard to impress, but somehow ended up doing it anyway. The story quietly pulls you along, not with long explanations, but with moments that speak for themselves. It's one of those rare experiences where the gameplay feels tight and responsive, but there's also this quiet emotional thread running underneath, holding it all together. If you've never gone back to it, or if it's been a while, it's still one of those journeys that's worth reliving.
Got two on the platform. I see them. Weapons free. Roger that. Tango down. Target neutralized. We've got company.
Here's something a little different. Doom Eternal might seem loud and intense on the outside, but there's actually a strange kind of rhythm to it that can feel almost meditative once you settle into it. At first, it throws a lot at you: fast movement, constant action, a world that feels like it's always crumbling or burning. But once you start to find your flow, it becomes less about chaos and more about focus. Everything is built around this sense of motion and timing, like a puzzle made of speed and sound. What surprised me most wasn't just how fast the gameplay feels, but how deliberate it is. Every move, every jump, every little choice has its place. The world is bold and surreal, full of sharp edges and strange architecture, but it's also kind of beautiful in its own way, like a painting you have to sprint through. There's no slow build-up or quiet story moments here. It's all forward momentum, but somehow it never feels rushed. It's the kind of experience that wakes up your senses in the best way, while still giving you just enough space to think as you move. If you're ever in the mood for something that challenges your reflexes but still feels clean and thoughtful underneath, this one's definitely worth exploring. There's something about descending into an unknown place that's both quiet and strange that always sticks with me, and Bioshock captures that feeling in such a unique way. I really want to show you this next one, because from the moment you arrive, there's this deep stillness in the air, like the world itself is holding secrets it doesn't want to share right away. You're not just exploring a forgotten city underwater, you're wandering through something that feels frozen in time, where every hallway, every flickering sign, every whisper of music tells a little piece of a bigger story. What makes it so special isn't just the setting, though that's unforgettable. It's how the game lets you take things in at your own pace. You're never forced to rush forward. You just sort of move through it, listening, watching, thinking. The choices it gives you feel small at first, but they start to carry weight the deeper you go. It's calm in its presentation, but still full of tension in all the right ways. And the atmosphere, softly eerie, oddly beautiful, makes the whole experience feel more like a quiet walk through a dream than a typical shooter. If you've never visited this place before, or even if you have, it's one of those journeys that really lingers with you long after you've left.
Dr. Lamb found a way to shape that girl into something perfect, something holy. She's a daughter to us all. Nobody in...
There's this other gem I've been playing lately that really caught me off guard in the best way: Metro Exodus. It's the kind of journey that feels quiet and heavy at the same time, like every step you take is carrying the weight of everything that came before. What makes it stand out isn't just the setting, though the world is haunting in this beautiful broken down kind of way. It's how it balances stillness with survival. You're out in these wide open places, but nothing ever feels empty. There's always a rusted train in the distance, or a flicker of movement behind some trees, or just the sound of wind brushing against old metal. The way it handles pacing is special too. It's not all about shooting or sneaking. Sometimes it's just about taking a quiet moment by a campfire, or hearing a small story from someone you meet along the way. The gear feels worn, the weapons clunky in a good way, like they've been patched together from scraps, and that just makes the world feel more real. Everything about it invites you to slow down and take it in, one careful step at a time. If you've been looking for something that mixes atmosphere with heart, something you can really sink into, this one's definitely worth your time. Here's something different I've been thinking about: Wolfenstein. The New Order really surprised me with how personal it feels beneath all the action. You start off expecting something loud and over the top, and yeah, there's plenty of that, but then it slows down in places you don't expect, and suddenly there's more to it than just firefights and explosions. The world feels heavy, not just visually but emotionally too. Every room tells a little story if you stop and look around. The characters don't feel like throwaway side notes either. They've got quiet moments that actually land, and that caught me off guard. What really makes it stand out, though, is the way it handles pace. You can go all in if you want, or you can move carefully, explore a bit, and take in the space around you. The movement and gunplay feel tight, but it's the contrast, the tension between big, bold action and softer human moments that makes the whole thing feel fuller somehow. It's one of those experiences that keeps shifting between styles, but it all holds together in a way that works. If you've ever been curious about a shooter that tries to do a little more than just shoot, this might be one to sit with for a while. There's this other one I've been thinking about that really captures that strange feeling of being somewhere wild and unfamiliar, Far Cry 3. It drops you into this lush, unpredictable island that feels alive in a way most open worlds don't. What makes it stand out isn't just the scenery, though the forests and beaches are beautiful in that rough, untamed kind of way. It's the way the whole place seems to change depending on how you move through it. You can quietly sneak along a jungle path or crash into a camp with everything blazing, and both feel equally natural. The world responds to you, not in loud or flashy ways, but through little things like spotting an animal off in the distance or hearing something shift behind the trees when the music fades. It has this rhythm that invites you to explore slowly, to take your time and get lost a little. The freedom feels real not just in what you can do, but in how you approach everything. There's a calmness to it between the chaos, and that mix of danger and stillness gives the whole experience a unique kind of weight. It's one of those games where the journey feels personal, like you're not just playing through a story, you're moving through a place that remembers where you've been. There's something kind of peaceful about revisiting an old game you remember from years ago, and Halo. Combat Evolved Anniversary is one of those that still feels special even after all this time. I really want to show you this one because it captures that perfect mix of mystery and simplicity. The world feels big but not overwhelming. There's this quiet beauty to those wide open landscapes, the way the light moves across the terrain, and how you're just dropped into it with a sense of purpose but not too much direction. The pacing gives you room to breathe, to take in the silence between battles, to just wander a little and look around. Combat is smooth, but never too fast. It has this thoughtful rhythm where every encounter feels clear and focused. And the music, even in the background, adds something soft and steady that carries you through. It's not about being flashy, it's about how everything fits together, calmly and confidently, like it knows exactly what kind of experience it wants you to have. Whether you're replaying it or discovering it for the first time, it still holds up as something gentle and grounded beneath all the action, and that's what makes it worth returning to. There's this other gem I've been playing that kind of caught me off guard, Resistance 3. It's got this somber, almost quiet tone running underneath the action, and that's what really stuck with me. You're not some invincible hero saving the world, you're just trying to survive. To keep moving forward through places that feel worn down and forgotten. The world has this heavy atmosphere, like everything's been through too much already, and you feel that weight in the way people talk, in the cracked buildings, in the silence between fights. What makes it special isn't just the setting or the story, it's the way the gameplay lets you feel the tension without overwhelming you. The weapons have this gritty, handmade vibe, and every shot feels like it matters. But even between the combat, there's time to breathe, to notice the little things, like a dusty hallway lit by flickering light, or a quiet stretch of countryside that somehow still feels calm, even in a ruined world. It's not about winning some big war. It's more about the journey, the small moments of hope in a place that feels like it's almost out of it. If you're looking for something that's a little slower, a little more grounded, this one's really worth your time. There's something about this next one that really lingers, not because of flashy set pieces or over-the-top moments, but because of how grounded and close it all feels. Call of Duty. Modern Warfare from 2019 brings everything in tight, like you're moving through spaces that feel real, lived in, and strangely quiet, even when things get tense. I really want to show you this one because it surprised me with how much care went into the atmosphere, the way the lighting hits a dark hallway, or how the sound shifts as you move from room to room. It's not just about quick reflexes, it's about reading the space, taking things slow when you need to, and feeling the weight of each decision. The missions don't always rush you, and that creates this unusual space to think, even in the middle of action. There's a seriousness to it, but not in a way that feels forced. It's just steady, thoughtful, and quietly intense. The pacing gives you time to breathe, to move carefully, to really feel the tension instead of being overwhelmed by it. If you're in the mood for something that feels sharp but never showy, this one might be worth revisiting. It takes its time in a way most shooters don't.
Personal radar drone ready for escort. Kill confirmed.
There's this other gem I've been playing lately that really sticks with you, not because it's loud or overwhelming, but because it pulls you into its world so quietly and completely. Dishonored has this strange, dreamlike energy where everything feels soaked in history, like the city itself is tired and aching but still breathing. You move through narrow streets and crooked buildings that feel just real enough to be believable, but twisted just enough to feel like a half-forgotten memory. What makes it special isn't just the freedom in how you play, sneaking across rooftops, pausing time, slipping past shadows. It's how every small choice feels like it leaves a mark on the world. Even the quietest moments carry weight, like watching a guard's routine or listening to whispers from behind a wall. The game gives you space to slow down, to look at things from different angles, and find your own rhythm through it all. It's not really about being perfect, it's about being present, noticing the little details, and finding your own way through something that feels personal. It's the kind of experience that sits with you long after you put the controller down.
By an officer of the watch. Escort through the solitary wing must be scheduled in advance, with 1 week's notice.
Huh? Outsider's eyes, I'm getting spooked.
Here's something different I've been thinking about lately. It's one of those older games that still manages to feel ahead of its time every time you revisit it. Crysis has this almost meditative quality buried under its sci-fi armor and explosions, where you're dropped into this stunning island setting that feels more alive than most games that came after it. The way the sunlight cuts through the trees, the way the water moves, even the way your footsteps sound in the sand, it all just makes you pause sometimes and take it in. And then you've got this nano suit that quietly changes how you approach every situation. You can vanish into the jungle, turn into a walking tank, or just sprint through chaos with your heart racing. But what really stands out is how the world reacts to you. It's not just about shooting your way forward, it's about noticing how things move, how the enemies adapt, how the world pushes back a little. That sense of being dropped into a space that doesn't revolve around you but still lets you shape how you move through it, that's what makes it stick. It's a game that whispers more than it shouts, and I think that's why it's still worth coming back to. There's this other gem I've been playing lately and it kind of crept up on me in the best way. It's called F.E.A.R, and honestly it's one of those games that quietly gets under your skin. You wake up in this sleek futuristic space station that looks like it should be safe, but there's something off. Like the silence is just a little too quiet, and every corner might be hiding something that isn't quite what it seems. What makes it so special isn't just the setting though, it's the way the world slowly unravels around you. You start noticing the little details, the flickering lights, the empty coffee mugs, the notes left behind by people who were clearly in a hurry. It makes you feel like you're piecing together a story that's already happened, and you're just walking through the echoes of it. And the way you can turn into random objects like a cup or a chair sounds wild, but it actually opens up all these creative ways to explore and survive. It's not a loud or flashy experience. It's more about creeping around, observing, thinking carefully about every move, and slowly getting drawn into a place that feels both beautiful and broken. I didn't expect to feel so connected to it, but it has this calm tension that sticks with you, and if you've got the patience for something a little slower and more thoughtful, it's absolutely worth a quiet afternoon.
Report to muster stations immediately and await further instructions.
Lots of ways to solve problems on Talos 1. Weapons are one of them, but weapons are rare.
There's something quietly haunting about F.E.A.R. 2, Project Origin, that lingers with you, even long after you've put the controller down. I really want to show you this one because it blends action and atmosphere in a way that's strangely calming and unsettling at the same time. It's set in a world that feels broken, dim corridors, flickering lights, and that soft hum of tension always building in the background. But what makes it special isn't just the eerie vibe, it's the pacing, the way the game lets you move slowly through spaces that feel lived in and abandoned all at once. The gunplay is heavy and crisp, every shot echoing like it actually matters, and there's this cool slow-mo effect that lets you take in each moment like you're right there in the middle of it. It's not all non-stop action though. There are quiet moments where the world just breathes around you and you kind of forget you're in a shooter at all. It's one of those experiences that balances intensity and stillness so well, and if you're the kind of person who enjoys getting pulled into a strange, eerie world and just soaking it all in at your own pace, this is a ride that's really worth taking.
Top, I made it up the stairs. All clear. About damn time. Try to catch up the snow a bit. Will do. I'm on my way up.
Here's something a little more wild than usual, but still surprisingly thoughtful. Underneath all the chaos, Bulletstorm is one of those games that really doesn't take itself too seriously, but somehow ends up feeling more memorable because of that. It throws you into this over-the-top world where every encounter is a mix of mayhem and creativity, and it's not just about surviving, it's about how stylishly you can pull it off. The environments are strange and colorful, almost like a mix between a dream and a crumbling theme park, and the weapons feel just different enough to make each fight its own little puzzle. What I didn't expect is how satisfying it feels to experiment with all the tools you're given. You're encouraged to slow down, look around, and figure out new ways to approach every situation. And yeah, there's a lot of noise and action, but in between all that, you start noticing the rhythm of it, the way each room sets up its own little playground for you to explore. It's chaotic in the best way, but also kind of relaxing once you get into the flow of it. If you ever feel like taking a break from the usual serious tone of modern shooters and just want something you can sink into with a smirk and a bit of curiosity, this one's worth checking out.
These kooks are tearing it up. I say we let them.
There's this other gem I've been revisiting lately, and it really surprised me with how much it still holds up. Killzone 2 feels like stepping into a forgotten corner of sci-fi history, gritty and heavy in a way that's strangely comforting. The moment you drop into its world, everything feels thick with atmosphere. The skies always seem a little too dark, the wind sounds harsh, and even the ground feels like it's been through too much. What really caught me off guard, though, is the weight of the movement. Every step, every reload, every little motion feels just slightly slower than you'd expect, like you're really in all that armor, like it's not just about speed, but presence. The environments have this muted industrial look that somehow pulls you in, and the enemy encounters are tense without feeling overwhelming. It's not flashy or exaggerated, it just leans into a grounded kind of realism that makes the action feel more intense without being chaotic. And as you move through each zone, you start noticing how well everything fits together, the pacing, the sound design, the way each battle gives you just enough room to think. It's one of those shooters that doesn't rush you, but still keeps you fully locked in, and there's something really satisfying about that balance. If you ever want to step into a world that feels tough, immersive, and a little forgotten, but in a good way, this one's worth spending time with again.
I'm not leaving them for the Higgs. Let's track those Marines down. We gotta follow the trail.
Here's something different I've been meaning to share. It's a title called Singularity, and there's something about it that quietly lingers after you've played. It's got that rare feeling, like stumbling into a strange old memory that's been half erased by time. You start exploring this crumbling Soviet facility, and it's not just the eerie silence or the flickering lights that pull you in, it's the sense that something went deeply wrong here, and the world never quite healed from it. The way time shifts in and out feels oddly personal, not just a gimmick, and every little clue scattered around the environment adds to this slow, uneasy feeling that keeps building. What makes it special isn't just the time-bending mechanics, though those are pretty cool. It's how everything feels connected. The storytelling, the pacing, the way you move through broken halls and glimpses of the past, it all weaves together into this moody rhythm that's easy to sink into. The gunplay feels chunky and grounded, but there's also this strange beauty to it all, like you're walking through history that's cracked and dangerous, but still oddly quiet. If you ever feel like stepping into a forgotten place that's equal parts mystery and tension, with just enough weirdness to keep you guessing, this one might be worth dusting off. There's this older title I've been thinking about lately. Black and playing it again almost feels like opening up a time capsule from the PS2 era, back when shooters had a heavier, more tactile feel. From the moment you fire your first round, there's this raw, weighty feedback that just hits different, like the developers really wanted you to feel every bullet leaving the chamber. It's not about flashy effects or fast movement, it's more grounded than that, almost cinematic in its own quiet, gritty way. The environments, while simple by today's standards, still carry this sense of intensity, like every corner could explode in gunfire, and the way objects splinter and crumble around you gives the action this thick, satisfying chaos. What makes Black stand out, even after all this time, is how focused it is. It's not trying to be everything, it just leans into its strengths and delivers them with confidence. And there's something really refreshing about that. No fluff, no distractions, just a game that knows what it wants to be and does it with style. If you're ever in the mood for something that brings back that feeling of pure, unapologetic gunplay without all the extra noise, Black is still worth revisiting. There's this other gem I've been thinking about, the darkness too. And honestly, it's one of those experiences that sticks with you more for how it feels than what it says. Right from the first few moments, there's this eerie softness in the way it draws you in. Like you're being pulled into someone's memory instead of just booting up a shooter. It's got this hand-painted, graphic novel look that somehow makes everything feel more emotional, almost like you're living inside a comic panel that's constantly shifting between chaos and calm. And what really makes it stand out is the strange balance between quiet personal moments and brutal, stylish action. You're not just running around with guns, you're wielding these shadowy, otherworldly powers that twist and stretch out from you like living weapons. But the real surprise is how human the story feels underneath all of that. It's not just action for the sake of action. It's about holding on to something, grief, memory, control, and the game gives you just enough quiet space between the fights to really feel that. If you ever want something that's equal parts intense and unexpectedly tender, The Darkness 2 has a strange way of wrapping you up in both at the same time. Alright, that's pretty much everything I wanted to share for now. Just a quiet little look back at some of the 20 best single-player FPS campaigns of all time. You'll never forget these. And honestly, I really loved putting this one together. It brought back some good memories. If any of the games hit you in the same way, or if there's a favorite you think I should have mentioned, you're always welcome to drop it in the comments. No pressure, of course. Just if you feel like chatting. And if you like hanging out with these kinds of calm, story-driven pics, you're more than welcome to stick around. Either way, thanks for spending some time here with me. It means a lot. Alright, take care out there.